Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Bugbears and Brews. My name's Brian, and today we're doing Encounter recap number 23 of our Storm King Thunders campaign. So, start off with you guys fighting the Boule that was remaining, and you guys took it down pretty quickly. It did a little bit of damage to you guys, but now that you had your weapons, not your armor, but at least your weapons in hand, it went down pretty quickly. From there, you guys regrouped. A couple players that weren't the previous week joined back in the session, and you guys move forward. So one of the things that you guys decided is you had to get out of the desert. You didn't know really which way was north, but you kind of guessed or I shouldn't say north, which way was out of the desert, because you didn't really know which way was out of the desert, thanks to being transported while unconscious and not really good bearing on where to go. But before you guys headed out, you decided let's go visit the glade that was magically transported from the material plane into the Shadowfell. You did a little bit of hunting there, gathered up what was remaining of fresh water because the water was seeping down and down and down. So any water there is not going to be there much longer. And you could set up a couple night watches, those kinds of things there. Nothing happened though at night, and so the next morning you guys were able to set off. And setting off, the trip. So one of the things, I know we don't do a lot of random encounters, and that's because random encounters to me are just fluff. And also we discussed it as a group that said, hey, let's not do so many random encounters, let's get to the meat and potatoes of the story. Especially now that you guys are getting up to getting to level 9. Most random encounters are going to just be there to slow down the gameplay, I think. Sometimes they can add to the game, but unless it's going to be something unique or something of importance, which really wouldn't be that much of random, it'd be kind of more of a planned encounter, we kind of wave them by. That was a group decision, not just my own. So going through, we might have had a couple encounters that I might have highlighted, auto-played, that kind of stuff there. If I ever do any of that stuff, people never die, people never get hurt or anything like that. But first night goes by without issue. One of the things I will say, though, during Anigo's watch is he swore he saw an end to the desert during his watch. And so the next morning he was all excited. He didn't mention it to anybody, but he's kind of a little excited, like, hey, I saw an end to the desert. He woke up and it's not there. So he's a little bummed about that. Unsure if he was just tired or it was illusion, or maybe he saw something wrong. Because it was nighttime and can't quite get a good idea on things when it's a little bit darker. So I set out the next day, and the big event of this day was coming across a cactus patch with several different types of cactus. And some of you guys are like, you know what, let's start filling up our canteen with this cactus water, because you guys didn't have much water, considering now that the centaurs went and took all your water. So you had like a day and a half's worth of water. So a couple people took water for the future. However, Ivar decided to drink from all 3 of the cacti. And I'm unsure the actual reasoning behind this. I don't know if Ivar is just spontaneous, or if the player itself was looking for some sort of weird trip, but that's what he eventually got. So what I did mechanically was roll behind the scenes to say, this cactus gets you, higher on the percentile die, the more messed up it gets you. So the first one was like a 98%. The second one wouldn't have got you messed up at all. The third one was like an 89%. So 2 that were really high on the how screwed up will you get you scale. He drank from all 3 of them. So 2 of them that are really potent and 1 that did nothing. And so it went a while without anything happening to him. And then he had a couple minor side effects, but he's able to stave those off, and nothing more of it. One later that night at camp, everybody looks, and Ivar has been sitting there with his hand in the fire for some time and didn't feel a damn thing. And so when people question him, he's like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Pulled up his hand, and it was nice and charred black and completely disgusting. And I mentioned he went to touch Pavik, and the hand kind of slid off like the exterior skin kind of slid off like the outside of a marshmallow when you burn it too much. And so Havoc was left with kind of this hand skin shell on his armor, and he kind of freaked out a little bit there. And then they cast Lesser Restoration on Ivar, thinking that would resolve the hand issue. It didn't, though. It just cleared up his head mentally and made him feel all the pain that he was feeling in his hand now. So, due to spontaneous, irrational behavior, Ivar now has, he can either attack with using a shield and not get proficiency bonus, or he can attack with his hand that's not really proficient with fighting, so he can't use a shield, because the main thing is, I want to say, like, he can't hold his shield while with the crappy hand. So if he uses his crappy hand to attack, he gets half his proficiency bonus, but he can't use the shield. Or he can use a shield in his good hand and attack with his crappy hand and get no proficiency bonus on the attack roll there. You pee in the potty? Okay, well, we're going to pause here and go take my daughter to the bathroom. So, meta-mechanically speaking, eventually we did get down to the discussion on what would restore Ivar's hand, and it's going to be a Greater Restoration spell. So until he gets his hands on that, no pun intended, he will be down one hand with either that half proficiency and no shield, or no proficiency bonus. From there, that night, Inigo saw the desert once again at the end of his vision, and he decided, you know what? I'm telling everybody this time, and looked to be about a mile off. And so he's like, you know, we're heading for this right now. Everybody start packing up. Nobody helped Ivar and his one-handed self, thinking that he kind of deserved what he got with having to put everything, you know, way slowly. Thought it was kind of funny, but also figured you guys would probably want to rush, given what happened last time with the desert, or the end of the desert disappearing. Main thing is you eventually got to the end of the desert. It was truly where it was. And you opened up into like a Badlands type territory after doing some configure, you know, looking at the map and seeing where you guys are. You guys think you are in the right area. And so you went, tried to find a nice place to sleep for the night. And so you went up to like a little bluff there, set up camp, and took a look and kind of got a good judge of where the desert was. That way you can kind of try to see what happens in the morning and see if it, you know, you having a little bit higher elevation, you'll be able to see a little bit further out and see if there was a change there. Did it move further away? Is it closer? Is it gone? Who knows? But the main thing here is, as you guys were getting ready to rest, you were attacked by what eventually you found out to be Dark Mantles. And I will say, for 6 CR half creatures against a group of, what? We had 6 level 8 characters. These things kicked your guys' ass. And really is going to make me have to rethink and adjust future encounters coming up. As you guys know, we're eventually going to be going into a Dark Mantle Hive Queen cave, lair, nest, whatever you want to call it. Dark Mantle Nest is essentially, let's call it that. And so this was kind of like my testing the waters with it. And it's not so much that they do a lot of damage, it's the fact that you guys didn't have a way to get rid of the darkness. So I think if you guys had a way to do that, it wouldn't have been so bad, but fighting with completely blind, so rolling with disadvantage on all your rolls, really was detrimental there. So eventually, between, what was it, there was a Thunder Wave that Havoc did, and then did Inigo do? No, the Thunder Wave, I think, took care of most of the darkness, and from there you guys were able to pluck them off kind of one by one. But that's where that ended there. There's a little bit of story and info that went in back, you know, with the Dark Mantle, you guys trying to figure out what they were. You eventually sent one to Fizzletink, and he said, "Hey, this is the Dark Mantle. This is just a young one, though, a little drone. So, you know, they get more dangerous from here on out." From there, the next day, you woke up, and the desert was nowhere to be seen. So there was definitely something different with the the plane changing size or location based upon the time of day. So you guys kind of kept that in mind. You're unsure if it's specific to the desert or through the plane entirely. And so you guys continued walking around the way. And eventually, I don't remember if we did a day or two worth of travel, or if it was just the next day. I don't recall the exacts behind it. But you guys came across, on your bluff, looking out in the distance, you saw an encampment a couple hours out, probably guessing 4 hours out. And so you decided, let's set up shop there for the night and just kind of watch from a distance, see if we can see anything, assuming that this is the Shadowhark High camp. And that night, one of the tracer things came back. Or did the tracer thing, was it there the night before? I don't recall. But eventually you guys came across, I think it was that night, yeah. The tracer thing came back, and this time you were able to get a hold of it through use of Levitate. So somebody, Inigo cast Levitate on it as it was going by, and we ruled that Levitate, even though this thing does have wings, it kind of makes it so that the creature can't move on its own. It's kind of breaks the bounds of gravity, so it's not pushing, the airflow around and that kind of thing. I let the table decide if it should work or not. Personally, I thought it shouldn't have. I thought the creature should have still been able to move around, but I'm not going to go against the majority there. And this thing spoke to you guys through emotions. And then when you eventually did catch tongues on it, it was very short in what it said. Not being mean or anything like that, but just not a lot of dialogue there. At first it was somewhat hostile. It was like a hostile, curious motion. Eventually Inigo apologized. I love you, sweetheart. Okay. So eventually, yeah, Inigo apologized, and that made the thing a little bit nicer. And it did let you know that that was the Shadowhark High camp, and you guys showed it like a drawing of the what's it called? The Dark Mantle Hive Queen, and said, do you guys know where this thing lives? And it pretty much told you that it's a trial. What that's going to relate to, who knows? And it eventually let you guys know that it can start to repair Broomy's mind. And you guys were like, hey, let's wait here, then let it repair Broomy's mind. However, the thing kind of told you that going down to the town and doing the trial is going to help Broomy's mind. So to start going down there, and then this thing can eventually help as well. So you guys sent down. You guys stayed there for the night. The next day, the town was still there, still in the same position. And then, so you guys sent Grimac and Rondi down to investigate the town. Took a couple looks around. They were able to stealth in a little bit. The main thing that they found was kind of like an elder councilman chamber type deal. The town itself, though, I described as being very kind of Bedouin-y type style there. And that's where you guys left off, was you guys heading towards the town. So that's where we're going to pick up, is with you guys getting into the town and seeing what happens there. So for this encounter, or this session, we were in the desert a bit longer than I wanted. And I'm really surprised with the Dark Mantle fight there. So I'm going to really have to think about how I'm going to handle Dark Mantles in the future, because I have all my custom Dark Mantles built out for the Dark Mantle Hive, and I'm going to have to take a look and see, are they too powerful, or did I need to rebalance the fight, considering how that first Dark Mantle drone fight went. Was that something due to you guys not understanding how they operate, or is that character? A lot of the creatures in the Monsters Manual are higher CR than what they say they are. Some of them are higher, some are lower, and I think this one would probably be a case where the Dark Mantle was a little bit higher CR than what it originally totes to be. So I will talk to you guys on Wednesday. See ya. Bye.